everyone to the LEC post-game lobby. I'm Sjokz, and I'm joined by Quickshot and by, if everything is working correctly, Guilhoto. And there's the Fisho. Hi, Andre.
Hey.
Yes, it works. We just saw off camera that there were people coming in and out, and the Fisho.
Yeah, you're gonna see again a bit more.
How's the Foxy Condi?
Yeah,
the Fisho just talks about it all the time. We saw you drinking that.
Yeah.
Wait, how did you guys saw it?
Well, the LEC secrets.
Nice.
Anyway, hey, let's talk about what is actually important here. And okay, bye. And that's the fact that you had a phenomenal victory over G2. There was a break. Jack Troll is in the lineup. It was a contentious change. How do you feel about this result with kind of the criticism that came towards that change towards Jack Troll in the first game back at the LEC?
I mean, it feels good, but at the same time, we don't want to overread it. I think that G2 used the break more to rest than anything else, and I feel like that benefited us a bit. But obviously, I mean, it feels really good. It's also great for the confidence of the team that on the first game that we have with Jack Troll, we managed to win against such a strong team. So we are obviously really happy and excited around the office, without forgetting that tomorrow is still a new game, and we need to calm down, or at least not be overexcited, so that we are able to repeat the same tomorrow.
Something I find quite interesting, Andre, is that you mentioned tomorrow's game against Misfits. Jack Troll talked about the game against Misfits. I know when Ender spoke to Defisho, he also talked about the game against Misfits. Did you guys anticipate a win here against G2 and feel maybe a little nervous about tomorrow's game?
Not really. It's obviously we go to every game with the intention and the expectation to win, especially on this split where the league is so close and all teams are taking games out of each other. We have to go with that mindset. But there was no special preparation to Misfits, trying to acknowledge that we would win today or anything. We just take one game at each time, and now that the G2 game ended, now we obviously will talk more about the Misfits game, because that's the next game to come.
Was there anything specific about G2's performance today that allowed you guys to win so easily?
I mean, Malphite's OP. I think that our comp was probably, or not probably, our comp was easier to execute, and it was really hard for their carries to play against Jarvan and Malphite. So I think that kind of dictated how easy the game felt for us.
Yeah, I mean, it's also mirrored in the Kia player of the game, which is Alphari with 62% of the votes. I mean, if you're going to give him a Malphite and he's just going to engage and seemingly win those team fights, I guess it's only logical he won, right, Andre?
But actually, how OP is this champ?
I mean, very OP.
I don't know, man.
Doesn't it make you sad?
He goes against an AP champion. Before it was like, oh, Malphite's really good against full AD comps, and now they have a full AP comp, and we still pick Malphite, and it doesn't matter.
I saw on the, was it the German stream? Malphite's the cog blocker.
Yeah, no, German caster doing that. That's great. Andre, is it also important for OG to have champions in the arsenal and in the draft like a Malphite? You refer to them as easy, but we shouldn't underplay that. It is also important to have certain things that play to your strengths or your weaknesses. So do you prefer if there's a very hard, easy engager in your team comps?
It really fucking upset. sorry. It's just in this game it is just different, right? When they have a fully mobile team comp and it fits also on the lane matchups, then obviously we will prefer. And in this case, where they have the poke of Kog'Maw and we can't really play a kite back comp because they'll outrange us and outpoke us with it, then we have to look for options where we can reach to their backline and we can initiate a fight. So it really depends on what the enemy team is drafting. A couple of times, as we also saw in across all leagues, right? Champions like Trundle, where you have a comp that you want to play more to kite back and you don't have an engage tool, then things like that also work, of course.
Yeah, they do. About the bot lane specifically, Upset tweeted out right after the game. We have it, I think. OG bot lane kingdom era has arrived, or something of the sort. Let's see. OG bot lane kingdom. It is a new era. One game in. Andre, what can you say about the OG bot lane era?
I think that it's working really well, especially on scrims. In this case, we have Senatam, so obviously it will be more through CS lead that we will see their bot lane era. But I'm really happy with how things are going and how they're understanding. I think that they work really, really well together, and that was shown today, and hopefully that will be shown for tomorrow as well.
First and foremost, congratulations on the win, and obviously like super one-sided win, especially for Jack Troll, considering the social media and the public outreach. I imagine for the team and for him in particular to make such a statement victory means a lot. But what surprised me was just how bold and comfortable and confident Jack Troll was in the interview. I'm unsure if you got to catch it. I'm not sure where you were, but Jack Troll was really, really forthcoming in saying that basically like everyone else follows my orders and everyone else listens to my calls and I'm decisive. We know Jack Troll's a confident player, right? We know he's outspoken and that has burned him in the past. But is that really, the big thing that he's bringing to the team? I'd like to hear from the coach's perspective.
I mean, he's definitely bringing decisiveness. He has a very aggressive mindset, which was something that we were missing. And a lot of the communication, especially between the coordination between jungle and support, when we go into mid game, comes from him. In early game, we still do the same, where Sjokz is really active in the communication and takes care of our early game plans. But in mid game, coordinating with Sjokz, he does that really well, making sure that he has a good overview and communicates what is our next play on the map. He's also contributing a lot in the communication in that, and also during laning phase on taking communication responsibilities from Upset, where because of that he can focus way more on his champion and what he has to do in terms of CSing and trading. So he's having a really big input in our communication, and his decisiveness is definitely helping.
May I ask about kind of the Destiny situation, just because I saw very amicable tweets and photos of Alfari hanging out with Destiny and all that. Could you shine some light on what the situation is? Is it a sub situation? I mean, obviously, but can you tell us anything about the expectations, or is that on the wraps?
Of course, everyone is on good terms with Destiny, and he's still part of our team and our roster. I don't know, this whole conversations that came on Twitter and Reddit that the team was divided or something just because Alfari posted a picture with Destiny or something. It's so ridiculous.
Which was so clearly a troll as well, by the way. Like,
yes, exactly.
I will admit, I actually shared the tweet and I said, "Am I missing something? Like, this feels like a troll. Like, am I the boomer here that just doesn't understand it?" But it is great to hear you actually say that everybody's amicable, and I am glad to hear he's on the roster. I'm excited to see what Jack Troll did today. The Upset tweet, the era.
Yeah.
Hey, it's the Jack Troll bot lane era. Maybe that's where it's at.
Who knows? Now, Andre, what we would really like to do, Quickshot and I, and we've prepared this, is just talk about Origen as a team, your play style, the evolution of your play style, and perhaps also the way you've been perceived by both the casting crew and the viewers at home. And I think that might be a really interesting discussion. First off, I want to ask about what we saw from OG today, which is, if I had to describe it, I think it is more aggression than we see in other times, but then still being careful to not throw the game away, which is obviously a very smart way to play. And I think when we look at OG throughout the years, we often use the moniker of a slow team, right? Yeah. But there are often also times where you guys absolutely take it to the aggressive teams and roll over them. Where do you think Origen is now in terms of play style, in terms of that everlasting discussion about your level of aggression that you bring to games?
I mean, to be fair, with Jack Troll this week, it was a lot about adaptation and obviously your playstyle. Or how can I explain this? Unlike football, it's not like a coach has a philosophy of a play style and you just apply it to every team that you have. You have to see what players you have and their characteristics and the things that they do well and the things that they don't do as well, and also adapt your play style to not only that but also the current meta. So obviously, when a new player comes in and when he also has a lot of responsibilities in terms of communication, our playstyle will have to be adjusted, and his playstyle will have to be adjusted to ours as well, or at least to the other 4 members. So right now, it's actually a bit unclear to describe what our playstyle is. I still think that we are a similar team to before, but when we go into mid game, we are more decisive and we know better what to do. In this, or at least it's easier to be on the same page if there is one voice that is comfortable on putting everyone on the same page. So in this game, for example, obviously it will feel slower than before, and what you talked about as well of being a bit scared of throwing. Our comp is really slow doing Nasher, and their comp is a cog mod that can just focus out on the pit, and it's really easy for them to come back from there. At the same time, there is a hair drake, which we benefit a lot from stacking it, because 4 hair drakes and cooldown reduction on Jarvan, Malphite, Senna, or Yana is just incredible. So we will play for that secured win condition, and if we can get a pick before and transform into an Asher and to an Ash, that's which was the case, that's what we did, then we will do it. But we are definitely different than before. But I think that most of it comes into mid game on us being more decisive and looking for more opportunities to break out the game.
One of the things I really appreciate, Andre, is that over the last couple of months, and after seeing OG's, rise last spring and then fall last summer, rise again in spring, Origin's playstyle is one of the most contentious topics because it is calculated. The stats that we ran just a few moments earlier, maybe we can get them back up on your screen. It was detailing the combined kills per minute. And generally, this is an indicator of the bloodiness of a game, how many kills are secured on average per minute. And Origin, for 4 splits in a row, is last when it comes to combined kills. In that extremely dominant victory over G2 Esports, you guys had a CKPM of 0.45, which is last in the league. Now, the reason I want to give that context, not having high kill games is perceived by fans as boring or slow, but that's not entirely fair. It's calculated. And I'm so glad that you said the football analogy. I'm not particularly clued up on football. I'm a cricket and rugby guy. But what I do know is that with all the Germans and the Spanish, don't knock cricket, all the Germans and the Spanish and the Dutch people that I work with, that I watch things like, UEFA and World Cups, they always complain about defensive football teams and teams that play slow, play controlled, play calculated. And it actually, that analogy kind of fits for me when I think about Origin, where it's like going somewhat against the trend where G2 have been the CKPM leaders, the aggressive team that is hunting for goals. And that's what's helped them win. But, OG's doing it a different way.
Well, I'll jump in a bit, especially when it comes to football. And I think it's really important that we distinguish, and also in the perception of Origin, that slow isn't always bad.
Yes.
Defensive isn't always bad. I mean, when you look at kind of the defensive football strategy of Catenaccio, which was so successful for teams like Italy throughout the football history.
Won a champions with it.
4 world championships, right? So it is good. But I guess the question becomes important when it goes, as you rightly said, the changing of the meta, like it did in football, right? Catenaccio didn't work anymore because we went to total football. They lost to more offensive teams, etc. And you do see that. And I think that's why it always sticks out for OG, because we're expecting you to go the distance because you always have the players and you always have the coaching staff. But all those other teams that play faster always win the trophy.
And you can build on that analogy, because not only did OG get beaten by G2 last year, 2 years ago, 3 years ago, SKT started getting beaten by European and Chinese aggressive styles. Like, it's just interesting that you do have these differences. And for OG, you've seen a split where it worked last spring, last summer, not so much. Most recently, spring still 4th, so.
Not at all, man. You don't need to be scared of offending me, man.
We're being careful.
I know exactly what
we
happened.
want to be respectful, right? And also,
to me, not so much. We didn't make it to playoffs. It's not so much. It didn't work at all, and we were really bad.
What's important, though, Andre, is that this is a topic that has happened in a number of places, and I'm so thankful we can have this really friendly conversation. I'd love to hear your perspective on it all, because you receive a lot of these conversations and these messages in the Borigin tweets, right? And that's why we wanted to talk about it and just like share some perspective, because like you said, slow does not mean bad. It's different ways, different styles, and you have found some success, but obviously not the top tier success that like G2 has found.
Yeah, I honestly about also the change of meta that you, Sjokz, talked about in football. I think that in basketball it's actually even more relatable, because in NBA obviously you had the meta of Shaquille O'Neal and these big centers, and then there was a rule of the 3 seconds that you couldn't be inside of the box, and after that you have Golden Guardians just shooting threes and whatnot. But in our case, I definitely don't think that the fact that our games do not have a lot of kills do not mean that it's just we just can't play aggressive or anything. We were actually, if I'm not mistaken, at least last split, a top 3 team in terms of goal difference pre-50 minutes.
Mm-hmm.
So, and that's obviously an indicator that even though our games had a low amount of goal, that in terms of CS and applying pressure, we were being able to do that. And on comps that we were going to scale, we were good as well on covering dives and possible plays from the enemy. Now, if it's going to be boring for the viewers, of course, then we will at least I will never deny the Borigin part, because it's gonna, at the end, it's going to be an opinion of the audience. If the game has no kills, then it's boring. If a football game has no goals, even though if like tactically was super well played, it's going to be boring. That's what people want to see. They want to see kills, they want to see action. And in the case of G2, if you combine that with a well-played League of Legends and Mad Lions, I think also fit in that, then the better. Now we will still keep with our approach and what we think fits better for us. I think that also an idea that I think it's maybe not talked enough is the staff and the players inside of the team will always know what works better for them and the problems that they have than anyone else. This is just like that. So if we receive a lot of comments from outside on what we should do and all of that, people need to believe, and we will obviously have the most information possible from anyone on what works for us. The same way that other teams will have the best information of what works for them than anyone else. So I won't debate or discuss if we are boring or not, because I think that by the metric that something is boring, if it has no kills, then we are boring, and I will not argue that.
Yeah.
But it doesn't mean that
You're not good.
We
not
don't
skilled.
have we don't have a well played League of Legends, or that the reason that we do it is mainly because it's what works best for us.
Yeah, I think that's totally fair, and I'm glad we got to talk with you about that. And I mean, it is important to say that we know that Origin can play very aggressive and win those games as well, but it is up to the coaching staff and to the players to show it. And obviously the proof is in the pudding, right? And if you win, nobody's going to nag. And that's just, unfortunately or fortunately, how things go.
We're not winning that much this split, though.
Well, you just smashed G2.
Yeah, that's good.
The one thing I don't think we'll get time to dive.
It's weird. We are 2-0 against G2, but then we have 5 losses.
Yeah. I don't think we'll get too much time to dive into it right now, but you did say something about how Jacktroll is in and you got to find your style and figure that out. So I'm very excited to see what the next few weeks has for OG, especially when you look at this table. 5 teams tied at 5-5.
What is going on?
This is mind-boggling.
So, Andre, I mean, you say it. You are 2-0 versus G2, but you're in the middle of the pack. What do you think about G2 and their form? You said they did have a break, obviously. They had the situation with Perks, but if we look at the whole season, it's been interesting.
Yeah, I still think that G2 are a really strong team. I would still say that when it comes into best of 5 and into playoffs, we already saw the form of G2 historically as well. Like I actually remember the one G2 interaction from Mithy and Sven, where they were like 5th place or something in the regular split, and then they just went to the finals and 3-0'd the finals or something. So I would still consider them to be favorites. I just think that they not only the obviously unfortunate and sad situation of what happened to Perkz, but also the way that they decided to approach a regular split, because I believe they felt a bit burned out when going to Worlds, puts them on this spot. But I don't think that they are too worried about not making to playoffs, and I know that they think that if they make it to playoffs, they are close to being still favorites to win the split.
Yeah, I mean, I think you can't count them out ever. Tomorrow, they'll be playing Mad. It's our match of the week, Mad versus G2. And the final question I kind of want to ask you is about the teams that are now at the top, being Rogue and Mad Lions. How much staying power do you think those two teams have at the top?
I think Mad definitely has a good staying power there. I have a bit more doubts on Rogue, but obviously those two teams are playing really well. And in the case, especially in the case of Mad Lions, I think it's actually one of those teams that even in my case, that I'm a competitor, it's kind of impossible not to like the vibe that they have, right? So it's really exciting to see a team like that.
I have to jump on that. Like honestly, what Mad Lions have been able to do this year, in comparison to the org that they used to represent for a long time, the players, the organization, the branding, the success that they're finding, it's exceptional. The fact that they're planning their winning celebrations on camera,
I love it.
It's beautiful. I know we are running out of time.
That's actually the perfect example.
It is.
Look at them. Same coaching staff, right? Because Mac and Peter then were still there, and Splice was actually slower than us, and now Mad Lions play super aggressive.
Because the players changed, right?
Philosophy changed? No, I mean, change the players and they adapted to it.
Yep.
So,
Andre, honestly,
I'd like to talk to you more, but we have to go.
Ify and I actually, we did a lot of prep, and we really wanted to look at this, and I'm so thankful for your willingness and your comfort to discuss the perception and the way Origin is discussed. I'm hoping fans at home will watch this and actually give it a little bit more thought as well. So I just wanted to say a personal thank you for a very candid discussion on what is and can be a difficult topic.
Thank you for inviting me. It's always a pleasure.
No worries. We hope we can see you guys in person in a bit. Trevor, I also know you had someone else to thank.
I have to say thank you to the Observer team today. Honestly, like the entire Observer team, they were under a little bit of pressure actually, because the LCK and the LPL and the LCS replays, all these fancy camera angles have been popping up.
Mostly the LCK. Just say how it is.
Okay, so I'm trying to be inclusive here.
It's been really good.
But the thing is, what I loved is the Observer team came in, and we've been bragging about these other regions replays, and they were like, we did it first. We can do it better. So anyways, huge kudos. Thank you to everybody for watching. We'll keep trying new things. And again, Andre, thank you so much. Congrats on the win.
Yeah, thank you, Andre.
Thank you.
Good luck tomorrow. Bye-bye. That will be all from us here in LEC. Be sure to tune in also later for Friday Night League and TSM versus 100 Thieves. And we'll also be back tomorrow for more League Legends. See you then. Bye-bye.
I'm casting G2 Mad! Woo!
Oh my god.
Wait, seriously?
Bye.
I gotta be selfish, dude. It's fun.
Humanoid's alive, and there goes the dreams of Sjokz. They'll put its whipple on the back. Looking for the setup. You gotta get it out! Are you kidding me? Damage has to be respected, though. That's disgusting. Strix going in with his invisibility. The final chapter coming out. Not really hitting too many people right now, but Crouchshot's already got onto Labrov. And Caboshot on the front line is dead as well. Crouchshot just opens up with the rat-a-tat-tat. Now with the 3 other members of his team as the flash comes forward, Ruthless Predator, but Argate Slice and Dice gonna chase him down, and Inspired brings down the Fists of Fury. When the god is almost dead, manages to survive, but the hook lands onto Hans Sommer, but the shockwave is perfect from Larson. Everyone dived in and they forgot about the Oriana.
You don't succeed.
More proactive.
Try again. Snap back on the ball. They're waiting this time, but now he's dug back under the tower. Self-made, no. Whipple's still alive. They managed to get one before the fight even goes through. Dan isolated off to the side. Cho'Gath though slowly getting chipped down. That's the double shockwave. Fnatic pushing forward. Fnatic, are you kidding me? They're crushing through the fight. It's all eyes on Thunderman, but he's locked up. The concussive blows are too much for him to deal with. The triple kill for Nemesis. Hell of a rough early game, but what a turnaround for the boy in the mid lane. Done the follow-up, Cagel now on the way, and Patrick still is definitely in trouble. Shielding coming down, but it is simply not enough. Now they need to retreat, however. Special on the way, and the Silas going to be well-equipped to take down Carzzy, but the flash away. He tries to match, flash, Carzzy with the sidestep. Are you kidding me? Special, the turn, the burn, they get him. The fancy feet coming in from the Mad Lion. Oh, but have they dug their own grave here? Patrick on the backside. Goodbye, Patrick. One shot. Humanoid going to finish it off. Tori's got nothing left. All he is peel for Patrick. He's got no damage of his own. Mad Lions are wiping the floor with Excel. Oh, the fadeaway. Oh, it's so clean. Boom. Bing, bang, boom. And done. That's the sound effects replay for the day. Brought to you by me. Alphari, that ult can be massive, as can the Orion. And Nuktuk waiting over the wall. He's going to catch Wonder. The follow from Alphari is clean. The exhaust comes down. They have to make it out, and they manage to take down the cannon before he can ult. OG will not take the fight. They will take the game. They will take the Nexus, and they will take down G2 Esports in style.